Well, the original yellow wiggle, Greg Page, is thankfully recovering in a Sydney hospital this morning after suffering a cardiac arrest while performing with his old bandmates on Friday night. They had reunited for a bushfire relief concert for adults only when Greg collapsed.
Guys, I think we're going to end it there. Greg's not feeling real well. I think he's going to be okay, but he's not feeling real well, so I don't think we can go on with another song.
Incredibly, Greg was revived by an off-duty nurse in the audience who used a defibrillator 3 times. Then a paramedic kept him alive until they got to hospital, administering CPR for 26 minutes. Last night, the band returned to the stage after Greg insisted the show must go on for their bushfire relief concert. The toll of the shocking events becoming clear, with Blue Wiggle Anthony breaking down as the show began.
And Red Wiggle Murray Cook joins us now, along with nurse Grace Jones and paramedic Brian Parcell, who saved Greg's life. Amazing to see the three of you here this morning. Thank you so much for coming in. Murray, you saw Greg yesterday. How was he and how is he this morning?
Yeah, actually Anthony saw him yesterday. I didn't see him, but he was really obviously much better. But Anthony was just really heartened by just how well he was. He was making jokes, which is what he's like.
Murray, it shows how close you are. Even watching that vision now, reducing you to tears. It's obviously been a really tough time for the band, but ultimately it is incredible that he is still with us.
It really is. You know, after we came off stage, you know, I went back to the dressing room and then I came back down and they were working on him, Grace and 2 of our staff, Steve Pace and Kim Antonelli, who also did CPR. Unfortunately, they had the training, so I just really encourage people to go out and get training. It's just, I mean, all that saved his life. And but it was such a shock seeing him there and people doing, CPR on him, and I was just thinking, I just thought he, was just overdid it a bit, but he was pretty much gone at that point.
And as part of his condition, he was prone to blackout. So I'm assuming when he collapsed, you obviously just didn't know what was happening and whether that was part of it. I mean, it must have just been horrific.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I don't know that this. I don't think this is necessarily related to his illness. But I mean, I'm not a doctor. I don't know. But yeah, that was our first thought. That was my first thought. That he pushes himself pretty hard too, as in, he gives 100%. He's such a,
and he had in that concert,
showman.
hadn't he?
Yeah, you can see it. I was saying to my family the other day, at what he does, he's the best in the world, I think, and I'm still quite emotional about it.
Of course you are.
Quite naturally, given, in your words, he was almost gone before your eyes. The trauma of that will last. But the incredible woman sitting next to you, Grace, they're calling you Amazing Grace, and that is an understatement because what you did very much, well, there's no doubt about it, it helped save his life. You grabbed the defibrillator. Talk us through what happened.
After he collapsed on the stage, it obviously wasn't very well, so I asked someone if they needed help. They said yes, so I went up. He didn't look very well at all, so they were doing CPR already, which is really good. Someone gave me the defibrillator.
Of course, because you're a nurse.
So that was good. Someone gave me the defibrillator and I put it on him, and then you just go through the sequence of the defibrillator. So it's automated, it tells you what to do. Anyone can use it. It's a really, really good tool.
Grace, you're just in the audience because you're a Wiggles fan.
Yeah.
You're there with your family.
I'm there with my family, yeah.
You're one of 6 kids. Your mum's a nurse. Your grandmother's a nurse.
Yeah.
Go to the nurse.
Thank goodness you went along to the concert.
I mean, but it's totally different when it's out of your hospital environment.
Yeah, so
I mean,
different.
how scary was it for you?
It was really scary, yeah, because it's not at my hospital, so there's not people around me that can help, and there's not the equipment, and I was having to do a lot of it myself, which was really scary. So
Brian said yesterday, when you arrived, Brian, she nailed it.
Yeah, look, I was very, very impressed with the resuscitation efforts from the Wiggles team. But I think the saviour of the day was the defibrillator, and Grace having the courage to come forward and actually use the defibrillator, given all the people that were in the crowd, to step up and actually save the life.
It'd be easy to be paralysed at that moment and not do anything, Grace, so it is extraordinary. 26 minutes of CPR, that to me seems an extraordinary amount of time, Brian. Can you talk us through just how lucky he is to be alive?
Look, unfortunately, we attend a lot of cardiac arrests across the state annually. Unfortunately, the outcomes are not as good as they were with Greg. And the reality is that, unfortunately, when we turn up, there are situations where people are not performing CPR, or there's a defibrillator available, but people are too scared to use it. It doesn't take long to learn how to use a defibrillator. It's about 3 hours, and it's probably the best 3 hours you'll ever spend learning how to save a life.
Okay, just quickly before we come back to Murray, how do we learn how to do that? Where's the course?
Look, there are a number of community first aid organisations which actually teach people how to use defibrillators. Okay. The challenge for the community is to actually have more available.
Yeah.
We need more defibrillators available so that we can save more lives.
Such a good message, Brian. Now, Murray, last night was obviously emotional. Now, how difficult was it to get back on stage?
It was very difficult. It was also really cathartic for us to actually get out there, and you know, there's so much love from that audience. It was really beautiful, and you know, to get back up there with Jeff and Jeff and Anthony, and you know, and our cast to get on stage and actually kind of work through it and just have some fun and feel like we're doing it for Greg too. You know, it was very much a tribute to Greg last night.
Murray, what did it actually feel like? You've given so many concerts. To be up there on stage, it takes enormous reserves of courage, I think, to get up there and perform after going through what the band's been through. But then it just must have felt one of the more special moments in your history.
It definitely was. I mean, you know, we nearly lost Greg, and you know, to get up there and there was so much goodwill amongst the audience. They wanted us to do it. They really, you know, they were there. I was backstage and couldn't hear it, but my daughter told me that before we came on, they were chanting "Greg, Greg."
Oh,
so
how beautiful!
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's still a very emotional thing. It's very raw, but you know, whenever I see that photo that was taken of him in the hospital smiling, and there he is.
Look at that!
I just think, oh, yeah, that's Pagey.
Wasn't that just wonderful to see yesterday? Look, the fact that it was an 18s only concert, and you can feel that 2 nights in a row just shows the goodwill and the love that people have for you.
The longevity.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just extraordinary. Of course, it was all for bushfire relief, and we heard the New South Wales Rural Fire Service Commissioner yesterday, Shane Fitzsimmons, saying that no one wears the yellow like Greg does.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Isn't that gorgeous?
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it was great to be able to do that for to raise money for, you know, so many people are feeling so helpless about the fires, and it was great for us to do our bit, and you know, it's just wonderful. You know, thank you to Brian and of course to Grace, you know, for looking after our mate.
Well, as a massive Wiggles fan, Grace, you are forever going to be part of the family, I'm sure. And Brian, thank you so much for coming in. Yeah, we really appreciate it.
Amazing work that you guys did. Congratulations.